Now, then the next one is, should we be self-sacrificing? All right, still there is a chance. All right, it's okay, but there is a chance that I might die. First responders, all right? You might be first responder. Should we? After all, we've been studying, love your neighbor as yourself. So, well, if I don't want to die from a vaccine, then no, I should love my neighbor as myself. Go do it. Go do it. Michelle, would you do it? You love your life too much. You failed the second commandment miserably. But what's the principle besides I love my life too much? Jemima, would you go and say, I sign up? You know, by this shall the world know that I am his disciples. I sacrifice myself. You don't know or you don't want? You don't know. Alright, so Jemima is a bit more altruistic than Michelle. She's more kind. Right? I don't know. I might. Alright, last one. What about you? Okay, fathers. Ask fathers, right? Father of young baby. Alan. Wait, I look at Angeline's face. Oh, okay. Alan answer by look at Angeline's face. Would you go and say, I will sacrifice for humankind? Angeline said, no, I don't know. Or never mind. Yes, Alan. No, you won't. Why? Why won't you? You don't think one person will make a difference? Take more, left, right, center, everywhere. Poke. Just poke me. One person may not make a difference. Is that the principle why? Is that the principle why? Now, we learned for so many weeks when God said, love as I loved. When Christ says, greater love hath no man than this, then he laid down his life for his neighbor. And love as I love. I give you a very strong hint already. Ada, what's the principle about self-sacrificing? It is point others to God. Yeah, so that's exactly the question. See, by Christians doing that, they will say, wow, actually Christians misunderstood you in the world. You're actually very good people. Alright? You point people to God, what? By sacrificing your life. Hey, come on. The principle. Alex.
But are you actually doing that when you take the vaccine? You point people to Christ?
Are you pointing people to Christ? Yes, they are.
Who would know that?
Who would know that? Okay, the clinic say you do that, you put your name on the vaccine. This is called Alex. Alright? Alex vaccine 2020. So, what is the principle of love? Thy neighbor as thyself. Sing Yin. Okay, only one. If it benefits them spiritually. Love them as I love. Did Christ die on the cross just to extend human life on earth? Did Christ die on the cross to say, kill me, alright, kill me, don't kill my disciples? When Christ said that, was he concerned about the physical? Christ's love, to the point where he laid down his life, was always for a spiritual purpose. Spiritually, our soul, it will be eternally saved, not to prolong physical life. Spiritually, we will, after salvation, know God, love him, serve him. That is why he laid down his life for his people. So the purpose is always a spiritual purpose. Okay, so Michelle actually knew the answer that night already. So is God asking us to go and be first responder, stick it in me, and if I die physically. And it is just for extending man's physical life on earth? Not so much that. Alright? Not about that. So now then, based on that principle, God does not require us to go and take all these first shots. Okay? That is not the explanation of lay down your life. So go and take this first. Now next, but if you want to take it, is it wrong? Is it wrong? If you want to take it, that's not wrong, but don't link it to I am obeying God in doing this, to lay down my life. Alright? Because that is not the principle of that phrase. So the second commandment must be understood correctly. Otherwise you become simply the social gospel. Just all about the physical life of man. Okay? Now, but what does God ask us to do? Now please turn. Does not God ask us to sacrifice? Turn to Philippians 2:17. Philippians chapter 2 verse 17. Philippians chapter 2 verse 17. Now let us read this. Reading. Yea, and if I be offered upon the sacrifice and service of your faith, I joy and rejoice with you all. See how Paul puts it. Paul said, I'm willing to die for you. And he did willingly go to very dangerous places in order that he may preach the gospel. He was willing to be beaten, imprisoned, and not stop preaching the gospel. Why was he willing to go through this physical sacrifice? Was it so that he will prevent the other believers from being caught and be killed on earth? No. He says, be offered upon the sacrifice and service of your faith. He understood the spiritual principle of the second great commandment of your faith. It's a spiritual intent. Christ laid down his life for our faith also. Okay, so Matthew 20:28. Matthew 20:28. Matthew 20:28. Okay, let's read together. Even as the Son of Man came not to be ministered unto, but to minister, and to give his life a ransom for many. A ransom for many means it is an exchange, not a physical exchange. This ransom was always about that our souls, or rather he took our place, paid for the penalty of sin. Paid for the penalty of sin, which is a spiritual ransom. Okay? So that is Christ's sacrifice for us. Now if you turn to Romans chapter 12. Romans chapter 12. Now the reason why I want to go through some verses is because we have to understand this sacrifice. Okay? Romans chapter 12. Now let us read the famous verses 1 to 2. Romans chapter 12 verses 1 to 2. Reading. I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. And be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. So you see, does he say, present your bodies a living sacrifice? This is willing to even physically die, to go through any kind of suffering. Present our bodies for that. For what purpose? Is it to protect other believers physically? Well, we should be willing to. But here, again, this bodies a living sacrifice is about holiness. Holiness is about being not conform to the thinking of the world. It's all spiritual, the sacrifice of the Christian. Right? So when you say, I want to sacrifice, don't think of a physical benefit. What are some lessons to learn? Maybe I ask you. So young ones, you understand this? Now I ask you, what is the application? Now you begin to understand what is the application. Elim, are you willing to sacrifice for Chloe? That's why you're wearing a mask. Are you willing to sacrifice for Chloe? Physically? No. Spiritually? Yes. Spiritually, yes. Why? Because it's easier. Yes. How can you sacrifice spiritually for someone? Can you think of it? Maybe ask Daddy. How can Elim sacrifice spiritually for someone? Spend time praying for the person. I'm very tired. I want to sleep, Daddy. Sacrifice your sleep. be willing to go through that tiredness to pray for someone, because the person needs our prayer, right? So we must not come to the concept of a social gospel. It's about making life better for people on earth. There's nothing wrong with that, but that is not the aim and purpose of the Christian sacrifice. Do you need to make physical sacrifices? Very often. Right? Today I'm actually very busy, but I know someone else needs help. So I go and help the person, but always with a spiritual motive, to help the person for a spiritual motive. Alright, so we had many Christmas dinners, I guess, right? Christmas dinners. So, why do you organize a Christmas dinner? Who organized Christmas dinner on Friday? Anyone? No one. On Saturday? Huh? Sunday? Monday? Right? Why do you do it? Why do you invite people to your house? Is it a sacrifice? Yes, I got to cook, I got to clean, I got to do many things. Why do you do it? Because the students are very poor thing. They're poor things. They got no family here, they're lonely, they get to only eat the food they cook themselves. Oh, such a poor group of people. I will sacrifice. Then we have now dropped down to the idea of, well, I sacrifice and kill myself for COVID-19. No, it's always that, well, they're alone. I want to encourage them spiritually. Or whoever it may be, students, it may be people without family here, whoever it is. Always a physical effort that you put in that may cause sacrifice on you is always for their faith, to increase their faith. Point is this: it is no point we do things in the second commandment. There's no point in even going through a lot of pain and sacrifice when it is not to encourage someone's faith. There's no point. You miss the second commandment reason. Alright? Now, during my very busy period, some people cooked food and brought to my house. Why do you do it? If you understand the second commandment, then you know why you do it. I hope not because I'm skinny, right? It's nothing to do with Sharon's cooking. I need to maintain certain weight not to get liver problems. Now, so when you think of all these things, why do you do it? We'll study on Tuesday night, God willing. Okay, so remember the sacrifice. So have I answered your question? Yes. Okay, so think of the second commandment in the right way. What time are we supposed to end? 12:40. Alright, so I think I'll reserve the next one for the next round, because it's an interesting question and it takes a bit of a longer answer. Should Christians wear crosses? Crosses, wear crosses? Should anyone wear cross here? Should Christians wear crosses? Should Christians tattoo crosses? Alright? So, don't you want to testify to the world? See, bright and shiny. Maybe put a battery in it that will catch the eye even. Should we do that for testimony? How should we think? Okay, let us pray. What do we have here? Top 5 reasons why church dropouts, what church dropouts say, why they stop attending church. Now please remember 66% of, well, I take the American view, they're the most readily available results. They stop attending church at least a year after turning 18. So from